What is going on, my fitness fam? It is Coach Jay in the house, my house, for another Technique Tuesday. So I've reached out to a few of you guys with the live at home workouts, and one question that I got was, how do I squat properly? So I'm gonna do some squat technique, mobility movements today for you, just because somebody mentioned that they do feel it in their knees when they squat, or they notice that their knees buckle in when they squat as well. So I'm gonna show you a few different tricks and techniques to do that squat. So first and foremost, squatting, everyone's gonna squat, and everyone's squat's gonna look differently. And it's all going to depend not only on strength, so getting the quad strength, so the front of the legs, your glute strength, so your butt, bit of the hamstrings, bit of the calves, but also mobility. Everybody's built a little differently. So you could have tight hip flexors, you could have tight ankles, tight hips, so it limits your range of motion. Okay, so that kind of affects how you move. Another thing is, with the squat, you basically want to engage the core. Actually, every exercise you do, you want to engage the core. So midline stability is what you want to focus on. So from core to extremities is what a lot of coaches talk about. So strengthening the core and working out to the extremities when you do your movement. Whether it's a squat, a push-up, a pull-up, even a burpee. All right, so I'm going to show you the squat. So your first thing you want to focus on the squat is basically, I see too many people lead with their knees, and that causes a lot of knee issues, knee pain. So when you squat, all I want you to do is you want to kind of focus on sitting down. So you want to imagine, so if you were to sit down in a chair, you wouldn't sit like this, right? You would basically just kind of sit back. So get those hips back and then just sit down, all right? So that's the movement of the squat, all right? Keeping your core engaged as well, okay? So, I've been guilty by telling people to push their hips back first, but if we do that, we actually take away from the core. So instead of popping that hip back, you're just gonna kind of just sit down. That's all I want you to do, all right? So that's the first movement in that squat. So you can imagine that you're sitting down, okay? So you're sitting down nice and low. So I say the lower the bum goes, the prettier the bum grows. That's because we want to recruit as many muscles as we can for that squat. It's a great core exercise. Not only does it burn the legs, gets the glutes, the more muscles we engage, the more efficient we get at the squat, the deeper we get. And then that way we build more muscle, we burn more calories basically, which is what we want to do. All right, so feet are going to be about shoulder width apart. Slightly point those toes outwards, allowing the hips to open up. So when you do that, you're going to get that bum back and you're going to open up the hips, pushing the knees out. For those that have knee issues or whatever, when they squat like this. If you have a band, what you want to do is you basically want to wrap that band around your knees, okay, if you can, and then that's going to force you to kind of, when you squat, so you might think, well, it's going to pull my knee in, but what I want you to do, that mind to muscle connection, is when you squat, you want to open up the bands as you squat. All right, so when you squat, you're going to push those bands out for me. Okay, so that's going to create that muscle memory. Okay, another way to do it is really just kind of, as you squat, physically, manually kind of just push those knees out for me and get down nice and low. Okay, so that is going to help with that. The other thing is, if you tend to squat, but then you lift the heels up, okay? That could be poor ankle mobility, technique, whatever it may be. And so that puts a lot of pressure on that knee as well. So what you want to do is, if you've got a plate, something that you can kind of put your feet on top of, all right? So here, so it's going to elevate my heels. So that way, it kind of, again, creates that mind to muscle connection. It lessens the need for that ankle mobility, so allowing you to squat deeper. Okay, there we go. So that actually feels better for me as well. So that's another option to do. So if you have one plate under each heel, that's going to allow you to get deeper into that squat. So the other issue now is mobility. So if you've got poor mobility, tight muscles, hips, glutes, usually if you are a frequent exerciser, you like running a lot and you've got knee pain there, it could be because of all the running that you do. And so that's tight IT bands, so just along the side here. And you're gonna feel that even without using the roller, if you just kind of press and rub along the side, you're gonna feel a lot of the tight muscles. So what you need to do before and after every workout is you're gonna find that spot on that one side, and it's gonna hurt, but it's gonna be good pain. So there's right there, and you're just gonna kind of hover over that spot, small little pulses, and then find another spot, small little pulses. Okay, we're gonna stay for about 20 seconds, go lower, and you're just gonna find that spot. You're gonna force more circulation and blood flow into the IT bands, work on that IT band. That's gonna take a lot of pressure off the knees, okay? After that, another one would be tight hips. So if you wanna get into like a little frog stance here, so knees out, feet. So if your feet are out, you're gonna feel that stretch more. Tuck them in if you've got some issues. And all you're gonna do is get onto your elbows, and you're just gonna kind of rock back and forth. And you're gonna feel that stretch in those adductors, okay? And that's gonna open that up. So I'm super tight there, okay? Then, to get the glutes, we're gonna get into that George Costanza pose. So if you ever watched Seinfeld, we're just gonna kind of put all our weight into that butt cheek, okay? So nice and tall. So instead of leaning forward, I need you to stay nice and tall and sit into that butt cheek, stretching out those hip flexors as well as those glutes, okay? So one leg forward, one leg back, alternating legs. Hold that stretch, 20, 30 seconds, switch legs. So do a few of those movements, all right? And then finally, the other one, time under tension. You're just gonna kind of hold that squat. So even if you have a dumbbell to add some weight, and you're just gonna kind of stay, have your fingers underneath, and you're just gonna stay there, okay? And just kind of open up those hips, stay down nice and low, all right? So hopefully that kind of helps you out with that squatting technique. Let me know how that goes. That's for your at-home Technique Tuesday, so that going forward, we know what we can do, prevent some injuries, increase the range of motion. Enjoy.